PK, one question on the Mumbai blue ecosystem. So it was really interesting what you have highlighted. And I wonder whether there have been any studies showing on how reviving this ecosystem could mitigate climate change effects. What you mentioned at the beginning, that Mumbai is under threat. Can you please enlighten us?
Well, there's no study really to do that. But it's certainly, in its immediate impact, contribute towards flood mitigation. That undoubtedly. You know, the city is every year getting flooded. Many lives have been lost through flooding. Many property losses. At least that could be mitigated, number one. Number two, the erosions would be checked. Our mudflats and our mangroves, revival of those areas, are our best defense forces against the sea rise and high tides and so on and so forth. So we can go on, but you're right. These things only governments can do due to resources and capacities. Private agencies like ours can initiate some of these ideas, but we have to push through these ideas with governments. NGOs should not and cannot do this on their own and solely by their own. For that would again undermine some of these democratic processes and keep governments out. Government's engagement is extremely important. So we have to push governments to doing that, and we are trying to do that in many of these instances. Now they have a pyramid in Mumbai where it's no more a sponsor is on top of the pyramid and the citizens and the corporation at the bottom of the pyramid. Now it's the public on the top of the pyramid and the sponsor and the corporation are at the bottom. So there are these new even introductions in the policies about governance of public spaces and cities that are also experienced through these movements.
Yes, just to highlight it, I think it's the right momentum to look into these matters because finally what you call nature-based solutions or ecosystem-based adaptation is coming big way into the agenda, and institutions such as ICLEI, for example, have dedicated projects to this. So I'm sure there must be avenues in which this could be quantified a bit.
Most certainly. Can help us.
Exactly. I think this quantification would really help into generating a momentum. And
can you help us?
Let me look at it. I'd love to.
Think about it. We really invite larger support networks.
Vikash Chandra, this is a question to you. As there is now a paradigm shift from physical development of cities towards the human development index, which is now mattering more. And recent studies have shown that probably that matters more than the physical development of cities. Is there any inquiry into this, or is there any recording of these facts in the Smart Cities mission? Are there any surveys being undertaken to gauge the human development index in cities?
Human development. सर ये बड़ा ट्रिकी क्वेश्चन है आपका.
But an important one too.
नहीं, ये ऐसा क्वेश्चन है जिसमें आप किसी को भी फंसा सकते हैं.
नहीं, फंसाने की बात नहीं.
नहीं, मतलब मैं क्वेश्चन की बात कर रहा हूँ.
I think if we can find a way forward on this.
सर, हाँ, इसलिए परेशान है कि कहें क्या.
नहीं, अगर नहीं है तो नहीं बोल दीजिए, हम लोग ये करेंगे. हम तो ढूंढ लेंगे.
आपका बताइए.
सर दो तीन
में है, पब्लिक तो ढूंढ लेंगे.
नहीं, मैं भी पब्लिक में ही हूँ सर, लेकिन सर कुछ एफर्ट तो हुआ है. और जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल these places, these projects, these priorities were basically chosen by the people. Every city, they chose what to do. एक ज़माना था जब दिल्ली को लगता था कि हम सबसे इंटेलिजेंट हैं और पूरी देश इतनी बड़ी बड़ी DPRs बना के वहाँ पहुँचती थी और वहाँ से वो अप्रूव होता था, कुछ रिजेक्ट होता था. आज के डेट में बिहार शरीफ अपना प्रोजेक्ट खुद डिसाइड करता है, किसको काम देना है, क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, ये बिलासपुर खुद डिसाइड करता है. अब बहुत सारे शहरों में इंटरेस्टिंगली सर ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट या उसके बहुत आयाम हैं. कुछ शहरों ने उसको प्रायोरिटी दी है. फॉर एग्जांपल किसी ने सेफ्टी को इम्पोर्टेंस दिया है, किसी ने हिस्टोरिकल इकोनॉमीज के रिस्टोरेशन को प्रायोरिटी दिया है. आई लुक आफ्टर कर्नाटका सिटीज़. वन ऑफ द सिटी इज़ दावनगिरी. दावनगिरी में एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग प्रोजेक्ट है. वो राइस पफ्स होता है ना सर, मुरमुरा जिसको कहते हैं आप, वो बहुत ज़्यादा बनता है. और वो इतना ज़्यादा बनता है कि पूरे कर्नाटक, तमिलनाडु में वो द मुरमुरा जो है मोस्ट लाइकली हो सकता है पुणे में भी आप दावनगिरी का खा रहे हो. Now there are thousands of such units which are in very pitiable situations. Now when the first round of smart cities were selected, Davangiri was in the top 20 and everybody was surprised why Davangiri is. And they were there because they had chosen that this is one thing on which we want to work. Now that was wonderful. Very tricky thing, very difficult. But nevertheless, you are acknowledging that these are aspects on which we want to work. Now, has that thing happened on ground? No. Have they tried? Yes. But the point is that human development के बहुत सारे आयाम हैं और उन सब पे कम से कम प्रायोरिटाइज तो हुआ है सर. एक बढ़िया बेस लाइन कि हम यहाँ हैं, तभी तो आप आगे कर पाएंगे कि वी आर स्टैंडिंग एट माइलस्टोन नंबर 22 एंड वी हैव मूव्ड टू माइलस्टोन नंबर 23. सो वो बेसलाइन मैपिंग बहुत अच्छा नहीं है. इफ वी मैप द बेसलाइंस बेटर, all the parameters of human development indexes, we will be able to perform, measure it, and maybe perform better. This is what I personally feel, sir.
Can I add one more project to that?
Please, sir. Please, sir.
There is another project which is happening where we are associated is in Amravati. Now, Amravati is a very celebrated city. Celebrated because it's a new town. And that Amravati town is happening or not happening is a second issue. But there are these 25 villages around the Amravati town or the new town or new capital in which they are working on upgradation of Anganwadis, upgradation of health centers, upgradation of primary schools, nursery school and secondary school. And that really sets the whole network of the value system or whatever upgradation at the bottom line for
पूरे देश में सर अलग अलग शहरों के अलग अलग priorities हैं. मेरठ, when they were trying to make a proposal, though they did not get selected, their whole idea was कि why do we have so much of crime? Can we reduce it? Now that is wonderful. If a city and the people choose कि भाई हम we are the सबसे ज़्यादा crime हमारे शहर में होता है, we feel bad about it and we want to kind of address it. I think that is wonderful, sir. Erode. Somebody told me that if you go to Chennai and in the cancer, 70% of the cancer patients are from Erode. Now, is this मतलब phenomenal? इस ढंग का issues तो हम जानते भी नहीं थे. और इस ढंग के issues को अगर शहर आइडेंटिफाई करके उस पर काम करना चाहता है, मैं तो इस पे भी खुश हूँ कि भाई कमाल है. मतलब you've thought about it, you've understood this is an issue and you're working about it. Sir.
Okay. It is not a question, but I would like to ask P.S. Mishra sir. When you talk about the creek rejuvenation and sort of improving that ecosystems, which is a mixing water zone. Now, one of the thing, the quantification of the city. So basically, the silting of the creek and the data, what has happened in 50 years, baseline to present day. Present day means latest by say 2015. Because I am also working on the Tarkali-Devba coast along Malvan coast, and there is a lot of siltation problems in all the creeks, right, from Asra to Karli. So, what decision to take when you don't have the baseline data with the governments also? And there how the interventions can be made. I want to understand that.
I think we can take that offline. We don't have too much time. I have a couple of questions for you, and I have the mic in my hand. So, both of you all are urban designers, architects, and even though you all might be at different ends of the spectrum of interventions in the urban realm, one as a private solo practitioner, one working with government. There are a lot of urban designers and urban planners and architects, young urban designers in the audience. I'd like to ask both of you, what advice do you have for young people today who want to make a difference, who want to contribute? I understand PK has spent his life sort of waving his sword, trying to make a difference, and there are a lot of us who want to do that as well. But and people in the audience here also, Kiran, Prasanna have done that for years. What is your advice for young people today who want to make a difference, specifically urban designers? Vikas and then PK.
मैं तो खुद young हूँ.
How can urban designers work with the smart city mission in that sense?
एक चीज तो what I definitely feel is 5 years of architecture, 2 years of urban design. Most of the time, spend life with architects and romanticizing as a mother of all arts, and all the most difficult words which people would hardly understand. And we are in a different cocoon. I understand if the population of this country is increasingly becoming urban, this community will have to come out from their cocoon and be much more understanding, and they are the one who have to come up with solutions. Now, if this community has to come up with more solutions, there are at least 3 elements on which they will have to be knowledgeable, they will have to be aware. They cannot remain romanticizing the urban fabric and the topography and the morphology. Okay, 3 issues in my opinion are, the easiest of them is sociology. How are the projects impacting people? The second of them, slightly more difficult side, is environment. They will have to understand how are their projects impacting the environment. And the third, the most difficult of it, will be economics and finance. How are their projects impacting their local economy? How are they going to propel the economic growth and employment and other kind of different aspects of finance? So in my opinion, urban designers will have to kind of make themselves familiar with these 3 issues to make themselves more convincing and to be able to suggest a much better solution. That is my opinion.
I always have just one suggestion. Please join movements. As an urban designer, join people's movements, people's protests, people's organizations. You learn from them. You've not learned in schools and colleges. You will learn there. You will be open to collectivization processes. You will learn to develop patience, endurance, tenacity, all of which we as professionals lack completely. We make a presentation, client approves, disapproves, we are in, out. Things take time, they evolve. And we move from movement to movement if we don't relate to that movement's ideas. But we have to seek platforms that provide this opportunity to learn from collectives and give to collectives. We have to channelize our knowledge through, they are the testing board, not pleasing a municipal commissioner and doing a project. When we conceived of the idea of waterfronts, reclaiming waterfronts, we had the option of approaching the commissioner and the CM. We all have good offices and influences in some way or the other, but we didn't choose that. We took the pain over a year to hold local area meetings along the waterfronts spread over 7 kilometers. It took a couple of years. And then the plan and the movement become theirs, collectives. No more PK's plan. It became Bandra Residents Association Plan. It became Juhu Residents Association Plan. Then it was beyond the might of a single bureaucrat to say no to it. And that is the magic. So please seek collective platforms to voice your opinion and develop your opinion.
In fact, if I can add a line to this, somebody told me long back ago that any reason is a great reason. Any reason is a great reason to live for if you're willing to give your life for it. I think this one slide of yours where you are showing the entire age of how things have progressed, I think that persistence and these urban designers becoming the voice of it, I think that's a great idea. Great idea to work for. Brilliant idea.
PK, say a few sentences about the engaging positively with politicians, because you have great experience.
Well, we have to understand what is democracy. We have to function and strengthen democracy. And so we have to influence our own government's elected representatives constantly. And if they are counterproductive to the ideas of the collectives, it's a friction. That struggle continues till, the politician is influenced. But, Sharad, you're right. You have very, very years of experience working in slums and on the housing question and grappling with politicians, and not just politicians. You must have another big lobby, the bureaucrats, who administer this country and who also give ideas to politicians and reflect their ideas back onto communities and places. So they are again another very important lobby to work with. I firmly believe, I'm in many ways against the idea of NGOization. Because what NGOization does is it excludes governments. And it also neutralizes people's might and collective power in many, many studies internationally that have been carried out. I believe we have to work through our elected governments. They can't get away. They have to ultimately take the responsibility. It's the government who has to do it. Not one movement, not one lot of people, but at a democratic level, it has to be seen and reflected through policy changes and legislations. That is again another significant objective we have, that there is a law to that finally, and that provides a weapon for people to again fight for their rights. I think so there are these layers of battles within battles, but it becomes much easier when we are in a much bigger groups.
एक लाइन और कहने की इच्छा है सर
जी
वो जावेद साहब के एक्चुअली मैं शायद थोड़ा ज़्यादा पढ़ता हूँ उनको वो बहुत अच्छी बात कहते हैं कि जो बात कहने से डरते हैं सब तू वो बात लिख एंड जब आप कोई भी चीज़ लिखते हैं चाहे वो न्यूज़पेपर हो या ट्विटर हो विश्वास करिए सर मैं 3 साल से मिनिस्ट्री में बैठा हूँ एक ट्वीट इज़ गुड इनफ फॉर माई वन वीकेंड टू बी काइंड ऑफ गॉन I have to do enough research and prepare answers. Every article somebody writes in and that is published by मैं कहीं से पहुंच गया मिनिस्टर के पास में उसने मार्क करके प्लीज गिव योर कमेंट्स जहां आ जाता है हमारे पास में एक वीकेंड मेरा खत्म हो जाता है तो आप लिखें आप बोलें किसी भी फोरम पे इतने मीडियम्स आज के डेट में वो नोटिस होते हैं और वो इट इज जस्ट द राइट टाइम जरूर होते होंगे देश बड़ा है लेकिन वो नोटिस होते हैं सर द पॉइंट इज दिस
आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर
We'll take two more questions. One from Judy here. Judy, it has to be a question, not a statement. A friend of mine.
He says it has to be a question, not a statement. But I wanted to say that in February, early Feb, there will be the Kala Ghoda festival in Bombay. So would you all be having a forum there? Some place in the Kala Ghoda festival to put forward this kind of thing, because there you will get a wide array of NGOs and so on and so forth.
Well, just to answer you, I mean, I don't think we need a mic. I'm loud enough, isn't it? Well, Kalagoda Festival also includes many discussions on urban planning, architecture. I remember speaking in a number of Kalagoda festivals on city planning, urban design, etc. So they have also that as a part of their program. And each of these neighborhoods that I talked about have all started a neighborhood festival, yearly festival, with the placemaking, with these public projects. So there is a Bandra festival, a month-long festival of heritage walks, of architecture, of environment, literature, cinema. So these have begun to start coalescing community strengths and impacting on community life in a positive sense, and has brought about a public dialogue which was dying. One of the significant aspects of democratic endeavor is public dialogue. And we had stopped dialoguing, exchanging, talking to each other. And these are opportunities that provide that dialogue to revive. And we have to make an effort towards that dialogue, a public dialogue.
The Bandra Festival.
Yeah.
विकास जी, आपकी हिंदी बड़ी अच्छी लगी सुनने में. हम पुणे के लोग हिंदी भी मराठी में ही बोल लेते हैं, तो मैं थोड़ी कोशिश करूँगा आपसे हिंदी में सवाल करने की. आप काफ़ी इन्वॉल्व है इस पूरी इससे स्मार्ट सिटीज़ मिशन में, और पुणे भी इज़ वन ऑफ द सिटी इन द स्मार्ट सिटी लिस्ट. तो आपने जैसे बताया कि द्रावणगिरी में आपने ये देखा, उसकी वजह से वो you're concentrating on that particular aspect in द्रावणगिरी. You spoke about some other city. तो आपने पुणे में क्या देखा?
Sorry.
हालांकि Pune was rank 2. In fact, they would have been rank 1 in the country, except for a brilliant idea by a Bhubaneswar municipal commissioner who involved the colleges, and they did a lot of public participation, and Pune was rank 2 in the entire country. The projects of Pune were selected much before I joined in. What I personally like about the Pune's idea was that Pune chose Ond as a ABD area. ABD was a concept of selecting a place where they will demonstrate how a quality neighborhood can be. So Pune being such a preferred location for people to come and stay, people from all across, from the entire state, or entire country, even people from other countries, everything to its advantage, education, climate, everything. So how should these neighborhoods be? And to create a model, that was the Pune's vision. To create a neighborhood kind of a example, which can be example not only for the entire city to follow, but maybe for the entire country. Some of the projects which Pune did, especially those about 2 years back, 2 साल में तो कुछ खास हुआ नहीं है यहाँ पे. I'm sorry to say this. लेकिन 2 साल पहले जो पुणे ने कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स की, वो पूरे देश ने देखी हैं और सीखी हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपका जो ये डीपी रोड का जो प्रोजेक्ट है, आपको पता नहीं होगा कि कितने शहर के लोग अपने ऑफिसर्स को लेके यहाँ पहुँचे, उनको ये दिखाया, और वो अपने शहर में जाकर इसको रिप्लिकेट करके कस्टमाइज करके बनाए. एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ आपको. चेन्नई में there's an area called as Pondi Road, and they were trying hard to get all their, because engineers are difficult people to work with, more so when you are a municipal engineer. I'm sorry, sir. This was something different. This was something challenge, a new thing to be kind of tried out. So he was having a difficult time, the CEO of Chennai Smart City. He brought his entire team to Pune, went through this entire section, learned, discussed, debated. They decided to do a pilot, and in that pilot they make their interventions. Pondi Bazaar which they have kind of made the pedestrian plaza. It became a talk of the town, so much so that the CM said that I want to inaugurate it, which was inaugurated only recently. Just do a YouTube and you'll find beautiful videos about it. And on the parallel, based on that pilot project, they are developing 100 kilometers of more projects for which they have already tendered. पुणे ने एक वो 3 किलोमीटर का रोड बनाया, उसके बाद शायद 1.5 किलोमीटर और बनाया है, बस वहीं पे कॉमा लगा हुआ है. लेकिन आपसे देख करके शहर जो है वो 100 किलोमीटर का रोड बना रहे हैं और आपके जैसा बना रहे हैं. ये मैंने एक शहर का एग्जांपल दिया है, ये पूरे देश में 100 शहर है. तो पॉइंट ये है कि बहुत सारी चीज़ें पुणे ने अच्छी की, लेकिन बीच में कॉमा लगा हुआ था. आई थिंक अगर आप लोग आवाज़ उठाएंगे तो शायद उसमें और गति आएगी.
Maybe the new government will do it better.
I'm sure, sir.
Could you tell us something about Amendment 74? Is it irrelevant, redundant, not necessary?
Wonderful, sir. Thank you. It was never more relevant than today. Why? वही एग्जाम्पल मैंने भी कुछ देर पहले दिया सर. When every city of the entire country had to go to Delhi to get the things approved, I think that was not 74th Amendment. But if today, example of Bihar Sharif or Muzaffarpur or Aizawl or maybe Dahod or maybe Trichy, if they are able to decide their own thing, that is 74th Amendment. If the contractors, the big ones, the L&Ts, did they ever bother to go to Dahod and ask you what is the kind of work? Today they are kind of, these contractors have to go and meet the municipal commissions of these smaller towns. That is 74th Amendment. Big consultants, the so-called the intellectuals, passing out from all places, we're all kind of happy to be placed in Bombay and Delhi and Pune. Today, if you want to stay in Delhi, you will have kind of a difficult time. If you want to kind of work in Warangal or maybe Karimnagar, you have got enough opportunities. That is 74th Amendment. So I think we have created there are at least 4,000 people who are working into Smart City Mission, and they are working from Dharwad to Imphal to Aizawl, and 40 to 50 such professionals are sitting in their offices and working right there. That is 74th Amendment. Sir.
So Vikash, if you were your boss for a day and you were the head of the Smart City Mission, what would you do? Do you have a pet project that you would say, I would love to just get this done? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I want to do only one thing. I want to measure the impact. I want to measure them. And both the tangible ones and both the intangible ones. When I kind of put in hundreds of crores in a city, putting in cameras and sensors, how it has impacted the people, I want to measure them. If I'm able to measure them, I will be able to make my next strategy even better. Okay, this is how I did. Maybe, for example, I'll give you an example. Baroda, I was telling you the example of this flood thing, and where this command and control center became the place where all action was happening. They realized one thing. पानी आता है तो वायर्स भी होते हैं उसके नीचे में, एंड पानी में इलेक्ट्रिक्यूशन का खतरा होता है. तो they had to shut down because people could die because of the electricity. Now electrocution was done, and that entire sensors and cameras, everything. So they were working on a backup of a battery. That battery lasted for 2 hours. It was all over. So all your eyes were kind of blind again. So now they learned. Now they have kind of made a kind of a 3-layer system. In such kind of a disaster, I need my eyes even more. So how do I basically kind of take care? So such kind of outcomes basically help you improvise and kind of update yourself. So that is at least what I would like to do. Measure the outcomes.
I think we've had a long evening. We can have this conversation. We can really, there's so much to talk about, so much to ask, and so many urban designers, architects, and people from Pune in the room. But
you have 3 days to go.
Yes. Thank you so much. I request Kiran to please give a vote of thanks.
Yeah, it's been a invigorating evening. Just about 3 weeks ago, I was here in this same place, and Uday Kulkarni was talking about James Wales, an artist from the colonial era, and he had actually drawn pictures of Mumbai. He had drawn paintings of Mumbai, and he was an artist for 4 years. He was based in Pune, and it's a wonderful book that he has put together. That our artist had a desire. He was also an antiquarian and a sort of impromptu archaeologist. So this James Wales drew up the Karla cave, the Kailas temples, and some of the best things that our civilization had to offer to an outsider. Why I remember that is because this very place where we are sitting, hall, which was done by my friend Hemant Mahajan, and this Bhandarkar Institute not very long ago was ransacked for many people know what reason. I don't have to tell you again. And today we have so many good thoughts coming up. Vikash Chandra from the government now telling us what is this smart city mission about, what are its successes, what are its shortcomings, what are its ambitions, and where it is looking forward. So Vikash, thank you so much for giving us that India view of the things. And many years ago, we imported a Swiss-born Frenchman called Le Corbusier to design a smart city for us, a new city, Chandigarh. And today, I think we don't have to look outside, for that kind of inspiration. I think what PK Das was saying is that we have to look within. We have to see how we connect our cities with the mostly the intangible things that our cities are made of, and what actually brings up the Human Development Index and makes cities more relevant. In his City in History, Louis Mumford talks about cities being man's ultimate artifact. You might build few precincts and few buildings and here and there, but together what makes a city. And I think this is one opportunity in the history of our long civilization where we can show what India is capable of. There are many examples apart from Le Corbusier city in Vidyadhar's Jaipur. There are these great temple towns of the south. There are these Bahmani towns of central India. And I think there are many examples that we need to ponder, look at how people valued water, how people valued craft, how people valued human emotions, and gave a kind of expression to that. So I think we all are on the edge of this kind of a wave, which is actually coming up. Our economy is geared, like what Vikas was saying, that the economy is one of the most important things. पैसा कहाँ से आएगा ये सब बनाने के लिए? हर किसी को कोई शाहजहां नहीं मिलता है वो ताजमहल बनाने के लिए, लेकिन हमारा शाहजहां कौन होगा वो देखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. As the world economy shifts towards the Pacific Rim from the western side, and we have this great opportunity. So I think the new urban designers, the new architects, the young minds who are there sitting amidst us to give another reply to your question, Khusru, for them they should look at where the money is coming from. What are the inspirations? What are the great landmarks that our civilization has been able to create, regardless of the caste, religion, or even the kind of reason for building a city? I think it's very important. So thank you everyone. Thank you for the audience, who participated so actively in this. And you really proved that this is a very, very Puneri kind of meeting here of minds and of hearts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I planted here.